Hello and welcome.
1, 2, 3, 4!
Señor Fancypants.
From an underground laboratory in Pennsylvania comes the Señor Fancypants Show. According to a recent study, listening to this podcast is guaranteed to be more fun than getting punched in the stomach. Please give it up for your host, Señor Brian Fancypants.
All right. Thank you so much. That's what I'm talking about. All right, have a seat. Thank you. Welcome to episode 17 of the Señor Fancypants Show. I'm your host, Brian Fancypants, and of course I'm here with my co-host, Lincoln. Say hi, Lincoln.
Hi.
Well said. I hope you're having a spectacular day, and if you're not, I hope this podcast makes it better, or at least I hope it doesn't make your day worse. I know Lincoln's been in a good mood lately because he's getting excited about summer break, aren't you, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming soon. He's ready for a nice long break from school. Here in the United States, our summer technically begins on June 21st this year and ends on September 23rd. And in this part of the country, students usually finish the school year somewhere in the middle of June, and it doesn't start up again until the end of August or beginning of September. So it's a pretty long summer break. Now, one thing we like about summer is that there are usually some pretty big movies that hit theaters, and this summer is no different. There are several great family-friendly movies coming out soon, and I have a list of a few of them right here. The first one on the list just came out, so technically it's not a summer movie, but it's getting hot out here, so we're going to go ahead and call it a summer movie. Also, I should tell our listeners outside the U.S. that these release dates are for the United States. I don't know when they release in your part of the world. Okay, so the first film on our list is the one that I was just talking about, the one that just came out, which is...
Aladdin.
That's right, Aladdin. It's a live-action remake of the 1992 animated Disney film called Aladdin, which is actually one of my favorite Disney movies. I love it. Lincoln, have you seen Aladdin?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Now, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to see the new one while it's in theaters, and it does look like it's getting mixed reviews, but I bet it's a fun movie. I will check it out sometime. All right, what else is coming out this summer, Lincoln?
The Secret Life of Pets 2.
Yes, the sequel to The Secret Life of Pets. It comes out June 7th. Now, I never saw the first one, so I'm sure if I go see it, I'll be totally lost. Lincoln, did you see The Secret Life of Pets?
I sure did.
And did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
So are you excited about the sequel?
Kinda.
Kind of? All right, well, maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. All right, the next one on the list, the next film is one that I think is going to be very popular. What is it, Lincoln?
Toy Story 4.
Yes, June 21st, Toy Story 4 comes out. This is the one that I am definitely the most excited about. See, I saw the first Toy Story film in theaters when I was 12 years old. Can you believe that, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yes. It was Pixar's first feature film, and it was also the first feature-length film to be entirely computer animated. So at the time, it was the coolest looking animation that I'd ever seen. Now, I really thought that the third Toy Story movie was going to be the last one, and I know a lot of people are afraid that they're going to be messing up the legacy of Toy Story with this fourth one, but that is ridiculous. There hasn't been a bad Toy Story movie yet, and this one is going to be great. I guarantee it. Now, in Toy Story 4, they're introducing a new character. Lincoln, do you know what the character's name is?
It's a fork.
It's a fork. Actually, it's a spork. So it's a combination of a spoon and a fork. It's like those little plastic things you might find at a Taco Bell. But the character's name is Forky. Clever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the character Bonnie turns a spork into a toy. Now, Lincoln, you know what a spork is, right? We just talked about it.
Yeah.
Have you seen one in real life?
Yeah. It works as a spoon, but can also be used as a fork.
Yes, that's right. It is a really great invention. I'm sure that this Forky character is going to be one of the best sport characters in the history of animation. What do you think, Lincoln?
Yeah,
I might be
think
right.
so.
Yeah. Now, we have one more movie on our list of summer films, which is...
The Lion King.
Another Disney remake, and that releases on July 19th. Now, I loved the original version. of The Lion King. I listened to the first Lion King soundtrack about 1,000 times in 1994. Now, this new version looks pretty cool, and I think it's going to be one that's really fun to watch on a big screen. So, Lincoln, we should definitely try to catch that one while it's in theaters. Are you in?
Yeah.
All right. Now, since we're talking about summer movies, and since you're 9 years old, Lincoln, I decided to look up what movies came out in the summer when I was 9 years old, which was kind of a long time ago. So let's see. There was Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, which was a sequel to a classic film called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Are you familiar with that one, Lincoln?
Yeah.
You've heard of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
I think I've watched some of it.
You think you've watched it? Oh, just some of it? It wasn't good enough for you? I love that movie. I think I saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in theaters, but I don't think I went to see Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Now, when I say Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, that sounds violent, but really it was in the film, the father is an inventor, and he invents some sort of machine that in the first film he shrinks his children, and in this sequel, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, he makes they have like a new kid, and he makes him much larger. Classic. All right, there was also Batman Returns came out that summer. And guess what movie that was a sequel to?
Batman.
You are correct. I didn't see it. I don't know if I was too young or what, but... And then the other movie that I have listed here is Three Ninjas. I was definitely a big fan of Three Ninjas, and so were all of my friends. Now, looking back now, it seems like it was a pretty ridiculous movie, but I remember it fondly. It was about three brothers that would spend the summer with their Japanese grandfather, who would train them in the art of ninjutsu. And then at the end of the summer, they would get special nicknames from their grandfather. So in the movie, the characters had the nicknames Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum. Are you with me, Lincoln?
Yeah.
It sounds awesome, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's been a while since I saw it, but I think in the movie, they end up having to use their ninja skills to fight a villain that their FBI agent father is trying to catch. Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all heard that story before. Now, I think he tries to kidnap the boys, but of course, he's no match for these young men's ninja skills. Now, they never explained why these boys had a Japanese grandfather when no one else in their family's Japanese, but it's probably best to not overthink it. So does that sound awesome to you? Should we find Three Ninjas so we can watch it sometime, Lincoln?
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
All right, so are you ready to move on to another segment?
Yes.
All right, then I think it's time for what?
Keith Brockway's question of the day.
Yeah, let's do it.
Keith Brockway's question of the day.
Today's question is, if you could spend 1 week in a fictional place, which one would you choose? Now, of course, we gotta check out Keith Brockway's answer first, and it looks like Keith had a hard time just picking one place, and he wrote down a bunch of places that are hard to pronounce, but I'm gonna try my best. Are you ready, Lincoln?
Yes.
Keith wrote so many great places, the Shire or the Lonely Mountain, which are from J.R.R. Tolkien books like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And then he wrote maybe Coruscant. Are you familiar with Coruscant, Lincoln?
Nope.
I know it's from Star Wars, but I don't know where in Star Wars. Also, Kashyyyk, another place from Star Wars. You know that one, right?
I forgot.
Kashyyyk is where Chewie is from, where Chewbacca's from.
Oh.
And
yeah.
then next he wrote Tamriel, or Tamriel. I think it's Tamriel, which is from a video game called Elder Scrolls, which I'm not really familiar with. I've heard the name before. Do you know what Elder Scrolls is, Lincoln?
No.
Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Okay, so Tamriel is apparently a place in that game. Keith also wrote The Mushroom Kingdom. Is that from Mario Brothers?
Yes.
Okay. And then he wrote maybe Hyrule, which is from The Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
Is that what you would choose?
Yes.
You would choose Hyrule? All right, so Keith. Keith went on to say, I think if I had to choose a fictional place to visit, it would be Xavier's Academy for Gifted Youngsters. So many amazing people with amazing gifts. It would just be cool to see. Now, you might be familiar with that if you know anything about the X-Men. So, Xavier's Academy for Gifted Youngsters is a school where mutants can learn how to control their powers. Now, in case you didn't notice, Keith Brockway is a nerd, and he's proud of it, and we think that's pretty cool too. All right, let's look at some other people's answers. We got Cody, who said Hogwarts. I know that my co-host Lincoln here, you know what Hogwarts is, right?
Yes.
Well, tell me what it is.
It's the School of Magic
Yeah.
In Harry Potter.
Okay, so it's the school from the Harry Potter series. All right. Now, Brett said Narnia. Have you heard of Narnia?
Yes.
Yeah, it's from a series of books by C.S. Lewis called The Chronicles of Narnia. Kevin said Hawkins, Indiana, which is the fictional setting from a show called Stranger Things, which is not really a show created for children, and there are actually some terrifying things going on there. I'm not sure I'd want to spend a week there, but to each his own. Carol said Walnut Grove from The Little House on the Prairie, which is a classic TV series based on a book series by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Brenda said Gilligan's Island, which is a classic TV show comedy. Lincoln, have you heard of Gilligan's Island?
No.
Well, Brenda sure has. Like I said, it's a TV show where a group of people are stranded on an island after their boat crashes during a storm. It was only supposed to be a 3-hour tour, Lincoln. Now, Brenda thinks it would be nice to be in a place with no phones, no lights, and no cars, just to be at peace and in the quiet of the island, in a hut with a hammock and the sound of the ocean. All right, that sounds okay. Our friend Lane Eady said that he would like to spend a week in Rivendell. You know what Rivendell is, Lincoln?
Yes.
Yes, that's another location, in case you don't know, from J.R.R. Tolkien's fictional world of Middle-earth. Kimberly said Fantasy Island, which is from another classic TV show called Fantasy Island. Steve said Neverland, which is from Peter Pan. I was actually thinking that Neverland might be my choice, although I'm starting to think that the Shire from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings sounds pretty awesome too. But Neverland would be a lot of fun. Sam LaRoe said Jurassic Park, which is an interesting choice. It's a great place to spend a week running from dinosaurs that want to eat you, if that's your thing, but I don't know that I'd want to spend a week there. Holland said Atlantica, which I had to look up. Lincoln, are you familiar with Atlantica?
Yes.
Oh, so you know what that's from?
Yeah.
Tell me.
The Little Mermaid.
That's right. It's the underwater kingdom from The Little Mermaid, which is ruled by King Triton. Now, I've seen the film. I actually saw it back when it was in theaters when I was a little kid, but I didn't remember what the kingdom was called. All right, thank you all for those great answers. Now, before we move on, we also have another question that we asked this week, and it's an important one, so pay attention. I asked people on Facebook, in your opinion, what toppings are necessary in order to create the perfect burger? That's a good question, isn't it, Lincoln?
Yeah, it sure is.
All right. Keith Brockway's answer was, the perfect burger is made before you cook it. You mix in cheddar and bacon into the meat itself. Once cooked, a single slice of cheese, 3 pickles, a thinly sliced tomato, and French fries neatly lined over the top. And then you add a modest application of ketchup and your standard bun. Please chew responsibly. All right, what do you think of that, Lincoln?
I'd probably eat that.
Probably. Actually, it does sound good. I like the idea of mixing in the cheese and the bacon right into the meat. Good job, Keith. Now, Lincoln, what are your favorite things to put on a burger?
Bacon.
Bacon, all right.
American cheese, pickles, a tomato.
And ketchup.
Yes.
Yes, you love ketchup. So that's your burger?
Yes.
All right. Now, it would take a long time for us to go through everyone's answers from Facebook. So what we did was we went through every answer and tallied up all the responses. And now we're going to reveal what the perfect burger is based on the most popular responses. So the perfect burger is going to consist of the top 3 condiments that you chose and the top 5 toppings. And Lincoln and I are going to try to make this burger sometime soon, and we'll let you know what we think. So the top 3 condiments in order of popularity were number 1,
Ketchup.
number 2,
Mayo.
and number 3,
Barbecue sauce.
barbecue sauce. All right, so that's the top 3 condiments. Now let's move on to the toppings. Number 1,
Bacon.
number 2,
Lettuce.
number 3,
Pickles.
number 4,
Tomato.
and number 5.
American cheese.
Overall, I'm not surprised. I mean, you all pretty much put together a classic burger. Now, we had some honorable mentions that were very close to making it in the final tally, and those were caramelized onions, mushrooms, and cheddar cheese. All right, so that was fun. Now, one of our more interesting One of our more interesting responses came from Jeremy Bell. He said, whenever I go to a restaurant, I try to order the strangest thing from the menu, something that I haven't seen anywhere else or something I couldn't imagine making at home. I had a burger with bacon and peanut butter on it once. I was, of course, skeptical, but it was phenomenal. So there you have it. People are passionate about burger toppings, and we got a lot of answers, didn't we, Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for playing along with us. That was fun. Hey, Lincoln, guess what national holiday is this weekend?
I'm not sure.
My birthday, son.
That's
That's
not
right.
national.
No, it is.
Okay.
June 2nd is my birthday, and to celebrate, we're going to go to my favorite place. And what is my favorite place?
The beach.
Anywhere there's an ocean. So yes, we are heading to the beach this weekend.
Making sand castles on a sunny day, playing by the water, throwing all our cares away. Making sand castles on a sunny day, and swimming with our friends. We're jumping over ocean waves.
This episode is brought to you by Lunch.
Lunch, the best meal you can have between breakfast and dinner. All right, next up, we're going to be talking about a place in the world because it's time for our place of the day. And today's place is one that Lincoln has been wanting to choose for a while now. It's a place that I've always wanted to go. It's the capital of Japan. Tell them what city we're talking about, Lincoln.
Tokyo.
Here are just a few facts about Tokyo, Japan.
Tokyo is one of the safest cities to travel to.
Crime against tourists is extremely rare. Tokyo has one of the lowest overall crime rates in the world.
Tokyo is home to one of the most visited mountains in the world.
Mount Takao. You can catch a train from Shinjuku Station and get to Mount Takao in less than an hour. There you will find several hiking trails, and apparently there are amazing views of the city when you get to the top of the mountain. It takes an average of 90 minutes to reach the top. There are also places on the mountain where you can stop and get some noodles. So if you like hiking and Japanese noodles, you should check out Mount Takao.
Tokyo has the busiest road crossing in the world.
It's called Shibuya Crossing. As many as 2,500 people can be seen crossing at the same time at Shibuya Crossing, and over 2 million people cross it per day. So if you really don't like crowds, you're going to want to avoid it.
There is a Disneyland in Tokyo.
Tokyo Disneyland was the first Disney park to open outside of the U.S. It opened on April 15th, 1983.
Tokyo has the busiest railway station in the world.
It's called Shinjuku Station. More than 3.5 million passengers go through Shinjuku Station every day. The Guinness Book of World Records has recognized it as the world's busiest train station.
Tokyo has more neon signs than anywhere else in the world.
Tokyo is lit. All right, that was stupid. Anyway, the streets of Tokyo are filled with neon signs. I've seen them in photos and in movies, and it looks amazing, but I imagine it's way more beautiful in person.
The largest fish market in the world is in Tokyo.
It's called the Toyosu Market. It cost $5 billion to build. That's billion with a B. And it's by far the biggest place in the world to buy fresh seafood, fruits, and vegetables. If you're allergic to seafood, though, it's probably your worst nightmare. But I love seafood, so I hope to get there someday.
In Tokyo, there are vending machines everywhere.
It's true. Tokyo has a ridiculous amount of vending machines, and they're not all just filled with junk food and soda. You can find vending machines that sell all sorts of things like clothing, toys, books, tofu, umbrellas, and hot bowls of noodles. We need to get more of those hot noodle vending machines here in the States. All right, so those were just a few facts about Tokyo. If you've ever been there and you have something to add, please send us a message. We would love to hear about your experience. And one day I hope we'll get a chance to visit the magical neon city of Tokyo, Japan.
Tokyo, it's the capital of Japan. Tokyo, it's a magical neon land. Tokyo.
Lincoln, did you know that animals are cool?
Yes,
Would you like to learn some facts about one of them?
of course I would.
Animals are cool. Here are some facts about one of them.
Today we are talking about earthworms, and instead of listing a whole bunch of facts, we are just going to say a couple of facts and then play a song about earthworms that we recently discovered. So first, here are a couple of quick facts.
Earthworms breathe through their skin.
Yeah, they don't have lungs like we do. In order for worms to be able to absorb oxygen, their skin has to be moist. It might sound gross to some of you, but worms are covered in mucus. That's why they're so slimy. But if they dry out, they will not be able to breathe, and they will die.
A moment of silence.
There are over 6,000 different species of earthworm.
That's a lot of different earthworms. Shout out to the scientists keeping track of the earthworm species. You must really love worms.
The largest earthworm ever found was 22 feet long.
22 feet. I know that sounds insane, but the average length of a South African earthworm is around 6 feet long, which is about 1.8 meters. In 1967, an earthworm was found on the side of the road in South Africa that measured approximately 22 feet long, or 6.7 meters.
Earthworms don't have ears, eyes, arms, or legs.
Yeah, they don't have ears, but they can sense vibrations. They don't have eyes, but they do have light receptors so that they can know whether they're in the dark or the light. They don't have arms and legs, but they do have these tiny little bristles on their bodies that help them move around. The reason we chose earthworms as our animal of the day is because we recently heard a fun new song about earthworms by an artist called Miss Lynn's Rainbow Machine. And the song is about how important worms are for keeping our soil healthy so that we can grow delicious, healthy food. And it comes from Miss Lynn's very first 3-song EP called Animal Best Friends. So enjoy this song called Earthworms.
Earthworms. Earthworms.
Squiggling and squirming deep in the dirt, tilling the soil and digesting earth. You've been doing what you do for billions of years, without eyes and without ears. You are a little intestine who nourishes soil, can wrap around rocks like a ladle coil. Thank you so much, earthworms, for everything that you do. Without you, we couldn't grow food. And I quite enjoy eating, so I'd like to tip my hat and acknowledge that you are totally amazing, even though you look a little weird.
Earthworms. Earthworms.
Squiggling and squirming deep in the dirt, tilling the soil and digesting earth. You don't have noses and yet you still smell. Receptors in your bodies, you can tell where you gotta go and what you need to do. Earthworms, I really admire you. Thank you so much, earthworms, for everything that you do. Without you, we couldn't grow food. And I quite enjoy eating, so I'd like to tip my hat and acknowledge that you are totally amazing, even though you look a little weird. Who cares?
Earthworms. Earthworms. Earthworms.
Earthworms! All right. We were talking earlier about how summer break is almost here. Now, one thing we like to do a lot during the summer is go to the library. If you don't go to your local library, we highly recommend you start going because you can borrow loads of awesome books for free. You can't beat that deal. Now, our library even has movies and video games. In fact, our library now has Nintendo Switch games, which Lincoln's a big fan of. And we are currently borrowing 2 great games right now. Lincoln, what games are we borrowing?
Yoshi's Crafted World and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Oh, I like both of those. Yeah, Lincoln and I have been playing both of them together a few times, and I'm a fan of both games. I didn't think I would like the Yoshi one, but it's a really cool looking game. Lincoln, explain what Yoshi's Crafted World is.
It's Yoshi's World, but it looks handcrafted.
Oh yeah, because they use like cardboard and paper cups and all sorts of craft supplies. Yeah, it's a really cool looking game, and I definitely suggest you check it out. The artwork is beautiful, and it's just a fun, family-friendly game. And the Donkey Kong game is really fun too. If you're a fan of any of the older Donkey Kong Country games, then you're gonna love the Tropical Freeze one. It's the same style, but with even better graphics. But yeah, it's cool that we're able to borrow games from our library instead of paying $60 to own them. And of course, it's also nice to be able to get some great books as well. Now, our library has a lot of graphic novels now, so that's great for Lincoln and his sister because they're really getting into those recently. But for those of you that are about to start summer vacation soon, please try not to spend the whole summer inside playing video games. Get outside, put on some sunblock, and enjoy the sunshine. Speaking of which, we need to go get ready to go to the beach, so it's time for us to bring this episode of the Señor Fancypants Show to a close. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the Señor Fancypants Show. I hope you had a great time. Now go out and tell the world about this podcast, all right? You're awesome, and I love you. Now, before we close out the show, we're going to play one more awesome song. And since we were talking about movies earlier on in the show, I thought it might be appropriate to play a movie-related song. And the first one I could think of was a song by my friend Jumpin Jamie, and it's about Back to the Future. So here is Jumpin Jamie with his song Back to the Future. Enjoy.
Doc Brown, who took him back to 1955. He kisses his mom and sings Johnny be good. Then lightning strikes where the clock tower stood. He's going back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Marty's mom for his wife, then Marty steals the car and makes everything right. I've got my hoverboard and my subways and shoes. Take the DeLorean to any time that I choose. We're going back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future.